get started. So welcome everyone to this NCCR Symposium on Socially Responsible Automation. I'm Giancarlo Ferrari Trecate, and I'm a professor at the Institute of Mechanical Engineering here at EPFL. And also a special welcome to the members of the Control Systems Society who are connected through Zoom, because this event is also part of the CSS Day. So as you probably know, the CSS Day, it's a series of events that started on October 19th and last for a week. And we have several other interesting events during the week. It is one of the last ones. So welcome everyone connecting through Zoom for this event from the Control Systems Society. And also special welcome to our speakers. Very kind of you to be here with us today. Let me introduce the speakers. So we have Anuradha Naswamy from MIT and Sarah Dean from Cornell University. Special thanks for flying from the US to Lausanne in the middle of the semester. Very appreciated. And then we have Andrea Censi from ETH Zurich. And finally, David Shaw from the University of Basel, who will join us later on. Now, the workshop is streamed online on Zoom, and also we are taking a few pictures here from the people in the room to be posted on the social media, so be aware of this. Good, so that's all for my introduction. So let me now call on the stage John Lygeros, that is providing an introduction to the main sponsor of the event, which is the NCCR Automation. John.
Thanks, Gianni. Let me add my welcome to that of Gianni, to the audience both here in the room and around the world. I'm John Lygeros, I'm the director of NCCR Automation, and I'll spend a couple of minutes to tell you what the NCCR is all about. You can also see our logo behind us. So NCCRs, first of all, in general, are effectively very large funding schemes for the Swiss National Science Foundation. They're there to develop centers in areas where Switzerland sees a strategic, considers of strategic importance on the science, but also more generally for the economy and the society. These instruments come maybe once every 5 years, and in the last round we were lucky enough to secure one for the field of automation, automatic control. We started 2 years ago, and we already are making progress. I'll give you some examples in a few minutes. First and foremost is the research, so it's a network of excellence for research, but we also cover all sorts of other aspects of automation, for example, knowledge and technology transfer, outreach and science communication to the general public, education, promotion of equal opportunities and young scientists. All in all, the point is to form a center of excellence in Switzerland with sort of international appeal and visibility and connections. So that's NCCRs in general. Our NCCR Automation, as the word suggests, is about automation, so feedback loops. So we have a little picture of a feedback loop here, showing the different areas that we cover, and this is our research portfolio. And we are starting first with theory and methods, methodological developments, and in addition to theory, just theoretical developments, also computational methods that allow the transfer of the theory to the practice. And at the moment, we have 3 application areas we're working on very closely, extensively on: energy systems, mobility, and Industry 4.0. And the idea is that by taking the theoretical methods and applying them to these real problems with industrial partners and real demonstrations, we get more input so that we can refine our theory methods and promote theoretical development. So that's the research. The team that's doing this is shown here. I did not add all the names, just myself, the guy in the blue shirt top left, and Gabriela Hook, the co-director, top right. And then we're fortunate to have a large number of principal investigators. You see their faces here from 4 institutions around the country. And then since the beginning of the project, we added another 10 affiliated members from yet another number of institutions, some at EPFL, some at ETH, but some further out the field, University of Zurich, University of Basel. We'll hear from one. These people are supervising our researchers, and the research team is more than 50 people at the moment, including PhD students and postdocs. So it's actually a fairly large effort that we're talking about here, a number of colleagues and a large number of researchers. What do we do? In the middle, at the heart of it, as you see, is research. So we're developing a research strategy for automation, not only doing research, but developing a research strategy. Colin Jones, the PI from EPFL, is leading this effort, and together with Savelio Borognani from ETH, who's sort of liaising with the management team on this topic. And interestingly, our research strategy for the next phase that we're considering very much focuses on socially responsible automation, which is the theme of the workshop today. But like I said, it's not just research. We also cover pretty much everything else, education and training, and then Giancarlo, from whom you just heard, is leading the effort, supported by Frederick Banis from the management team. Knowledge and technology transfer, Nicholas Geroliminis, a colleague from EPFL, is leading the effort there, supported by Benjamin Savicki from the management team. Silvia Mastellone is leading equal opportunities, together with Elise from the management team. And then Florian Dörfler, Linda Seward, and Arian Bastani are looking into communication and outreach. And I'll give you just some brief snippets of what we have done in all of these areas. I'll leave the research to other people to talk about. You'll hear one talk later today. But just on the other areas, I'll start with communication. So we've done quite a bit. We've put in quite a bit of effort. First of all, to promote the NCCR activity within Switzerland to the general public, highlighting scientific excellence. And this is sort of articles towards the community, the Swiss community, but also internationally. So we are running the podcast In Control that Alberto Padoan is developing. You may have heard some of the episodes, and more are on the way. And then we're trying to bridge to the general public. So we have a collaboration with the Verkehrshaus. That's the most visited museum in Switzerland, specializing in transportation, but not only, all sorts of other topics, including energy. And then we're planning a big exhibit together with them to highlight automation, among other things, in the area of energy. For education, many things that you would guess from higher education, but also not only that, also reaching out to primary schools and secondary schools, where the theme is what you see, sort of plagiarized a bit from Girls in Control publicity campaign. We try to explain to children what is it that allows robots and biological systems and even financial systems to work. And basically the theme is that control engineering, automation is at the heart of all of these things. So we're building on the material developed by Stephanie Knorr in Girls in Control, together with the International Federation of Automatic Control. We rebranded to Kids in Control and have given a couple of workshops in primary schools in Switzerland. You see pictures here. And then a similar effort, the mathematics of the city of the future. This is a workshop offered by Saverio Bolognani, Nicolas Lanzetti, and Joelle Giardini. I included a picture of the speakers. Some of them are here. If you see them in the audience, you can say hi to them. And they went to schools in the southern part of Switzerland to present this topic. For equal opportunities, there is activities locally going on in Switzerland. For example, the NCCR Women campaign. This was across all NCCRs, and we took part in this. 5 of our researchers, we had features on 5 of our researchers that presented the work and how automation plays into it. But also more internationally, you may be aware of the workshops that Silvia Mastellone, our Equal Opportunity Officer, is organizing last year at CDC 2021, which was specifically for gender diversity, and this year CDC 2022 in a month or so in Cancun, where it will be more generally about career opportunities across the board. So you're very welcome if you're attending CDC. Please register, drop by for the workshop. And then finally, knowledge and technology transfer. We do quite a bit of work to promote entrepreneurship among our researchers. Bench to Biz is a program that's running in Switzerland from many NCCRs. There, the idea is it's like a boot camp of technology transfer where people get together and try very quickly to come up with ideas of commercializing their research results, and then trying to basically bridge that over to companies. I'm sure everyone's familiar with the value of death. We're trying to bridge the value of death by providing opportunities to our researchers to demonstrate their research, for example, on real neighborhoods and cities in Switzerland with whom we're collaborating to demonstrate potential, and then hopefully be able to build on this to start companies, also liaising with industry and helping them transfer the results. In the process of doing this, in the process of trying to do this technology transfer, we also identified the second value of death, which has to do less with money and more with people. We have a lot of researchers and a lot of ideas that could be commercialized, but it's quite difficult to find the people to make the transition from the research to the commercial value. Researchers are generally more keen to write papers and promote science than actually exploiting the commercial potential of the work. Some see the value, some prefer to leave it to someone else. So we're devising ways of bridging this gap as well for the people. We have, for example, a student project house where we're training master students to take results that our researchers are developing, co-supervised by the researchers, and transfer them to the big deployments that we're planning in cities around Switzerland, for example. So through a series of master's projects, we're building the potential of the ideas to be commercialized and of the people to do the commercialization. So that's the approach we came up with. That's it. Here's a picture of the team from our retreat last year. Please join us on social media. Please get in touch with any one of us in the management team, in the directorate, the PIs, and do keep in touch. There'll be more opportunities like this. This is the second symposium we're organizing, and this is becoming more of a regular event. Next semester, we're planning a bigger event in May in Ascona. Is a conference center just on the hill above Ascona. The theme is digitalization of cyber physical systems. And there'll be a number of invited speakers, and we're exploring possibilities for bringing in people and also streaming it, making it available more widely. So with this, thanks for your attention, and I'll hand it over to Gianni.
Yeah, thanks, John, for the introduction to the NCCR. And let me introduce briefly the symposium team, which is socially responsible automation. So motivation is the following. I mean, as control engineers, we are used to this kind of diagrams where it's a classic feedback control system. But nowadays, when we think about the system, generally we have in mind a larger scale system like a transportation network, the power grid, or other utility networks. And control of these large systems is possible now because of progress in sensing, actuation, communication, and computations over the last 20 years, right? And of course, the challenge is to use control for providing new services to people, but also to improve efficiency, the use of resources, and to cause less pollution, if possible. And on a more abstract level, when we talk to the students, we are used to this kind of diagrams where we see subsystems, the coupling structure, local controllers, the way they are interconnected. All is good for control theory, but we are missing substantial components. First, people and the interaction with people. People are not just the users of the system, they're also interacting with the system and shaping the system itself. And second, we are missing interaction with the environment. And whatever we do to the environment, is going to be back on us in a very short time now. So we should care about these components. And the key question is the following: are human beings really at the center of control design and decision making, or not? Well, there is no obvious answer. We can take some inspiration from AI and learn some lessons from AI. And here I'm using this movie, Coded Bias, probably you've seen it, to make a few examples. So Coded Bias is really the research of Joy Buolamwini from the MIT Media Lab, and she was studying face recognition systems. But then she discovered that the famous face recognition system were not able to detect her face until she put a white mask on. And the second example, and also the last spoiler about the movie, is about automated CV analysis. So a system has been developed years ago by Amazon, but it was really giving preference to white males. Why? Well, the reason is that in both cases, the data set was biased. right? If you have trained samples which come mainly from white males, then you cannot expect to generalize well on minorities. Okay, and now what about the control? For control, it's even worse, right? Why? Because we do have to take real-time decisions. We don't have enough time to have a full human supervision. So you're familiar, I think, with a famous car accident due to autonomous driving. But time is not the only component. Sometimes it's also the information flow, right? If you think about a distributed control system like this one, well, you have local controllers which are myopic. They don't see the whole system. They also work usually with a limited prediction horizon, and they optimize local cost. So we all know as control engineer that guaranteeing safety, it's a real challenge in this setting. Okay. Good. So what about defining what do we mean by socially responsible automation? Again, I'm concluding by taking inspiration from AI. And here it's a report that the European Commission published 3 years ago already, where it was an attempt to define what does it mean trustworthy AI. And in the report, we see that good AI should have 3 features, should be lawful, ethical, and robust. Lawful, okay, it's a kind of obvious. Ethical, it's a bit more tricky, right? Because we have to define which are the ethical principles and values that we want to be respected by the control system. And robust, it's a bit more into, let's say, our control domain. So robustness, it's really meant from a technical point of view. And the report focuses on these 2 aspects. So let me just give a bit more of details about them. We have ethical principles which are put forward in the report, and these are mainly 4. The first is respect for the human autonomy. Second is the prevention of harm, fairness, and explicability. And you might think, why do we need ethical principle? Well, the reason is that law is not enough. There are several situations and scenarios where we cannot take an informed decision just on the basis of law. And in that case, ethical principles, they do kick in and guide the decision-making process. Okay, then in the report, these ethical principles are, let's say, declined into key requirements, and we see a number of them, 7 of them. Some are about, direct interaction with human, like human agency and oversight, or diversity and non-discrimination. Some other are more technical. In the interest of time, I'll skip the details about this, but just highlight the main question, which is the following. Okay, we do have a very high level conceptual requirements, but then how we do translate them into concrete specification, cost, and constraints when designing a control algorithm. Okay, so let me conclude with a few questions for today, because I think socially responsible automation is not yet there. It's really something which is starting now. So first is how to endow a control system with ethics. And the second is how to guarantee fair access to scarce resources. And finally, how to avoid that control and decision systems generate marginalization and disparity. And of course, I mean, not providing the answers, just raise the questions. I think the questions are pretty much related to all the talks that we left today. And before moving to the key part of the symposium, I want just to spend a few words for organizing the organizers that are behind the scenes. So Linda, Elise, and Frederick from the NCCR Automation, Nicole from the Laboratoire d'Automatique, and Luca and Niccolò that will chair today's sessions. The symposium itself starts with 2 talks by Anuradha and Sarah. That's the first part. Then we'll have a coffee break, half an hour, and then 2 more talks. Emilio was scheduled originally, but now we have Andrea with us because Emilio had a little problem, and David is the last speaker. And then we will have a 1 hour of panel discussion where we'll have the opportunity to ask our experts plenty of questions about socially responsible automation. And that's really all. So thanks a lot for your attention. And I'm calling on stage Anuradha for the first talk.
Thank you.